that moment when you rewatch your childhood and realize, wait, was I gaslighted by a dub company? Yeah, that was me with Pokemon. Because as a kid, I was absolutely convinced that Ash Ketchum and Misty were basically destined to end up together. Not maybe, not possibly, but canon. And honestly, I blame 4Kids Entertainment, or at least I used to. 10-year-old me wanted nothing more than to see Ash and Misty hook up. Yeah, and believe me, I was not the only one in the world. I shipped Ash and Misty hardcore, and so did an entire generation of internet fans, artists, fanfic writers, and AMV editors. You get the picture. Most of y'all know many hints, so I'm not going to share them. Also, some of the YouTubers have made these types of videos, which makes it easier for me. Sometimes I just don't understand the shipping community, so maybe we need to take the traditional approach, which is the boring version. Ash and Misty's relationship, it begins obviously when Ash ends up in the hook of her fishing line and, well, he steals her bike. But in the Japanese version, Misty gives Ash a painful-looking slap. Then he destroys her bike, and she follows him for almost 6 seasons. But then she, forgot about that, and the rest is a mystery. Misty had a tsundere dynamic with Ash. Some of you might not know the meaning of tsundere. So basically, if a character is tsundere, it means that they switch between having a cold, angry attitude and a warm, affectionate one. But back to my point. Hey, buddy, just take it easy there. We wouldn't want to do anything we regret. Damn it, 4Kids, look at this fucking mess you made. He spilled Fruit-oo all over the house, and now there's ants everywhere. So, this is kind of an interesting point when it comes to Pokéshipping for kids. The dubbing company behind the early seasons of Pokemon, really wanted Pokéshipping of be canon. I'm not complaining, though. But past me was super mad about the changes done by 4Kids, because I literally thought that these changes were canon. They were. But anyways, they also created a lot of original media to suggest that there was something going on. So the first and my favorite, arguably the most famous example, is the Misty's song. They literally made an album of Pokemon songs because they realized that they could make fat fucking stacks if they put out an entire album of these. Thus, the To Be a Master album was recorded and released in 1999, the height of the Pokemon craze in the US. But tucked away on the back of half the album is a song that Pokéshippers in the world would never forget, aptly titled The Misty's Song. It is told through her perspective, and it is nothing short of an all-out declaration of love for Ash. Low-key, this song, kind of a jam and beautiful. I fucking love this song. But more importantly, this song is also featured in the stage show Pokemon Live. Yay! 4Kids made a whole ass Pokemon stage show because they knew it would make them fat fucking stacks. So in the context of this musical, Misty sings the song to sleeping Ash. And after Ash wakes up, he wonders who he heard singing. And then Misty says that he must have heard someone else, or it might be the after effect of the Jigglypuff song. There's a few more that fewer people seem to know about. 4Kids kept making original Pokemon albums for pretty much the entire duration of the original series. So logically, their Pokéshipping bias was bound to pop up again. The Totally Pokemon album, what a great name, right? It's got a song called He Drives Me Crazy. And there's another one sung from Misty's perspective, though not by her voice actress, and it's obviously about how Ash doesn't listen to her and drives her crazy, but she still loves him. This one is also incredibly dated, low-key pop. And last but not least is the infamous Pokemon Christmas Bash album. Yeah. At this point, 4Kids was just doing anything. They were supposed to be a dub company, but now this? I drink to forget. Anyways, this album lets you know from the very first song, the title track of this holiday staple, that literally the only thing Misty wants for Christmas is one dance with Ash at the Pokemon Christmas Bash.
Hey Santa, if you're really listening, my wish list has only one thing. Just give me one dance with Ash at the Pokemon Christmas Bash.
That's it. Like, seriously, why does 4 kids making Misty look desperate? She is not like that. She is not like Serena. Serena is just, no words. Anyways, if that weren't enough, this album actually contains a duet between Ash and Misty. It's called Under the Mistletoe.
And can you guess what's it about?
The song, of course, culminates in the perfect summary of Ash and Misty's relationship.
Maybe this Christmas I just might get. Hi, Ash. Did you get something to eat? Yeah. Ash, did you realize we're standing under the mistletoe? Huh? Ash, where are you going? I'm getting some Christmas cookies. You just got some cookies. Yeah, I know. Come on, Pikachu. What's his problem, Pikachu? Pika, Pika.
One last footnote for the music. 4 kids made
Pokemon can take you halfway. 2 can help you win the game, yeah.
For some reason, they did this to promote Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. By the way, we have a full version of this, even though it was apparently used just for a TV commercial. I don't know. 4 kids being a little overly eager to pair these 10-year-olds together. While there's nothing as major as Misty's song or He Drives Me Crazy, there's a pretty wide variety of edits made to the dub that hint at the relationship a little more blatantly than the Japanese version. Most of it was relatively minor, like this classic.
Wow, imagine Brock married? You and I will be married someday too.
That set a lot of people off, including me. But I believe that Misty actually meant that someday Ash and Misty will be married too, and not them marrying each other. I hope you all understand. But 4 Kids wasn't afraid to go hard with some changes. For example, the montage shown in the Gotta Catch Ya Later episode where Misty leaves the main cast is substantially different in the dub. Not only did they write and record a whole-ass original song specifically for this scene that doesn't appear on any of the soundtrack albums.
Can't let you see me crying. You're more than just my best friend. What makes me Misty most of all in our final
But they actually go as far to edit the sequence. The original Japanese version, which is showcases Misty with the entire main cast, puts a big focus on achievement as a trainer. Meanwhile, the English version is Ash and Misty and their moments together, which is kind of off-putting, if you ask me. Oh, and by the way,
Well, Ash Ketchum, finally, I know how you feel about me.
classic, truly, possibly egregious example of 4 kids changing in the show itself. But also in the Japanese version, Misty did say the same thing though, but not as in the way the English version portrayed that. And how can we not forget the part in the movie Jirachi the Wishmaker? Like, bro, Misty doesn't even appear in the movie, but 4 Kids found a fucking way to do that. Max was sad that he'll have to part ways with Jirachi. And in the Japanese version, Ash finds him and consoles him by having a deep intellectual bro talk. But in the English version, Ash takes a different approach to comforting Max.
Sometimes friends have to go away, but a part of them stays behind with you. It's especially true when the friends are best friends. A good friend left me, and I miss her every day. But I know we'll always be friends forever.
Interesting. Who can he possibly be talking about? But anyways, I think I've talked enough about 4 Kids and their mess. Some of you know about this and some don't. But then I learned something that changed how I looked at the whole situation. Even though 4Kids Entertainment produced the English dub, they didn't actually have complete freedom. Because Pokémon is controlled by the Pokémon Company, and Pokémon is one of the most carefully managed franchises on the planet. Meaning localization partners usually can't just rewrite things however they want. If they want to change dialogue or adjust scenes, those changes often need to go through an approval process. Basically, the dubbing studio proposes a change, then the franchise owners review it, and they either approve it or reject it. Which means some of the dub changes weren't just random decisions made by someone eating pizza at 2 a.m. in a recording studio. They were approved interpretations. Which means the English dub was still operating under the Pokémon brand. So, some of those Pokéshipping moments, they weren't necessarily meaningless. They were just part of the dub's version of the story. Practically, this means that those changes done by 4Kids can be considered canon too, but I didn't know about that from the beginning. I just got to know about this a few months back from my friends. And honestly, I was so freaking happy that I got to know about it. So, did 4Kids Entertainment ruin Pokéshipping for me? Not really. If anything, they helped create the version of Pokémon that so many of us grew up loving. Even if some of those lines weren't exactly the same in the Japanese version, the feeling they created was still real. Because somewhere between the teasing, the arguments, and the adventures, a lot of us genuinely believe those two were meant to be together. And honestly, part of me still kind of hopes they are. But anyways, that's all for today. I really enjoyed making this video, and I hope y'all enjoyed it too. If you like my content, then you can subscribe to my channel. Bye guys!